Okay. Ready, Sally? Where'd Brenda go? Okay, well, no, we'll start, so. It's 5:15. We'll call this regular meeting to order. I'd like to recognize everybody that's in the audience this evening. Would you please stand and recite the pledge with me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving on to letter B, school board norms. Cedric, would you like to read those?
School board norms or decisions will be based on the board's strategic plan and its mission and what's best for the students. The board will act as stewards for tax dollars. Board members will complete foundation work and be prepared for the meetings. Meetings will be efficient and all perspectives will be voiced and heard. All board members will maintain a professional decorum.
Thank you, Cedric. We have no public communications tonight. Any conflicts of interest to declare? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion by Jennifer, seconded by Brenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, assuming roll call vote, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving into our regular meeting under recognition, we have their winter activities, and we're going to go through the sports, and when your name is called, if you want to come up, we have a pin, and then we'll take a little picture too. We'll start off with basketball. Jennifer, you want to?
In boys basketball, named to the All-WDA was Mason Walters and Bowden Skungborg. And also named to the All-State second team was Mason Walters. Bowden Skungborg is a 10th grade student, and his parents are Eric and Julie Skungborg. Mason is an 11th grade student. His parents are Marty and Amy Walters. Mason is also involved in track and field and football. In girls basketball, named to the All-WDA team is Megan Gaffney and Courtney Peterson. Megan Gaffney is a senior. Her parents are Tom and Tricia Gaffney. Megan plans to attend the University of Jamestown and participate in volleyball. Courtney Peterson is a junior. Her parents are Darren and Polly Peterson. She is also an athlete for volleyball and tennis teams.
Okay, give them a hand. And then we're moving into gymnastics. Diane, would you like to read those?
In gymnastics, named to the All-WDA are Hannah Sheely, Rachel Sheely, and Haley Nelson. Named to All-State first team is Hannah Sheely. Second team is Rachel Sheely and Haley Nelson. The West Region Outstanding Senior Athlete this year is Hannah Sheely. Hannah Sheely is in the 12th grade. Her parents are Jeremy and Cheryl Sheely. Her other activities include volleyball and softball. Her future plans are to attend the University of Jamestown and participate in volleyball. Rachel Sheely is in the 9th grade. Her parents are Jeremy and Cheryl Sheely. Her other activities are volleyball and softball. And Haley Nelson is in the 7th grade. Her parents are Jeff and Ramey Nelson. Her other activities include the girls' swim dive team and soccer.
Now moving into hockey, boys hockey, Brenda.
For boys hockey, all WDA, Devin Hoffman, Connor Fuchs, and Matthew Schneider. West Region Outstanding Senior Athlete, Matthew Schneider. West Region Coach of the Year, Matt Stockert. All-State, Connor Fuchs and Matthew Schneider. Devin Hoffman is a senior. His parents are Corey and Lisa Hoffman, and his future plans are junior hockey. Connor Fuchs is a senior. Parents Nathan and Sarah Fuchs. His other activities are football, choir, and band, and his future is junior hockey. Matt Schneider. Parents are Danny and Shannon Snyder, and his future is junior hockey. What grade are you?
I'm a senior.
He's also a senior. It's not listed. Girls hockey, all WDA, is Ella Roldson. Ella Roldson is a 9th grader. Her parents are Jim and Tara Roldson, and her other activities are volleyball and softball.
Then moving into swimming, Heidi?
For boys swimming and diving, all WDA, we have Jonas Flan. And all-state second team, Colton Carlson and Jonas Flan. And NISCA Academic All-American. Jonas is a senior. His parents are Nick and Chris. He also participates in soccer, FCA, and band. His future is to study in the medical field. Colton Carlson is also a senior. Parents Deb and Greg Carlson. Other activities include student council, FCA, and rodeo. And he plans to attend South Dakota State University and pursue something in the medical field. Congratulations. Okay, and we'll move on to wrestling. We have a state champion this year in the 130, and that's Ethan Bowman. Ethan is a junior. His parents are Suzanne and Sean Bowman. Congratulations to Ethan.
Congratulations to all, so. Moving on to correspondence, we have none. Reports, superintendent report, Rob?
Thank you. I did have just a few new hire updates, that just a little bit of bio information for those that we are recommending as new hires. Wanted to update again the Striving Readers Grant. As you know, 10 to 15 schools will be selected for that grant. We were one of 17 schools that moved on to the next round, so we will continue to work through that and see what happens. Strategic planning, one thing I wanted to share with the board, in visiting with Dr. Jeff Schatz, he's currently the superintendent in Fargo, and him and I had a nice conversation about his vision for how the strategic planning process would work, and he'll be the name that I would like to recommend to contract with to lead our next strategic plan. Before we do that, what I think makes sense is to have a small contingent of the board, an ad hoc committee that would work through a presentation with Dr. Schatz to have a sense of what he would provide from that process, and then bring that forward formally as a recommendation to the board. So that's what I would like to do, and maybe through at this meeting we can target some board members that would like to be involved in that process. I provided a little bit of information for some football plan changes. I don't have comments for that other than what's written here, but just to know that we have shared a little bit of perspective on those division changes, and would like to just share that information with you. Lockdown drills, we do, as you likely know, we're provided to do a minimum of one lockdown per year, and we do those. They're useful processes for us to practice, and they have been useful thus far. Thank our administrators and our staff and students for going through that process, and hopefully that's something we never have to use, but it's important that we practice. Mr. Shane Ringdahl has had a request for release, and it will be my recommendation to release from that contract, considering where we're at in the process, considering that we have a few other counseling candidates that have recently interviewed with us. And especially considering the proximity of the time that he turned in to the time that was requested, it was about a day. And I think just became circumstance. And I do think that we have the pool of applicants and the time to find a suitable replacement, although we'll certainly miss Mr. Ringdahl. He's done a wonderful job for the district, and we appreciate it. But I think at this time, there's some opportunities for him to move on, and so I would ask that you consider that recommendation. The last thing I have is a calendar, a very, very small calendar change. Doesn't, for the 18-19, 19-20 school years, doesn't impact the school calendar itself, just the pre-in-service day or preschool in-service days. And just so you're aware that those have changed slightly. I don't think because they don't impact the school days that we would require any change or approval from the board. Just wanted to make you aware. So I'd stand for questions if you had any.
Any questions for Rob, or?
Just interested in that.
There is interest. I mean, I think we're looking like for 3 of them. 3? I think Bob, Heidi, and Diane. Cedric, you want Cedric on there too? So, I mean, out of the 4, I mean, we can get them.
Thank you.
What's that? Heidi?
I suggest we have 4, just, that's still not a quorum, so we still could meet.
Yep.
And we'll
So-
we'll still notice it.
Yep, I would say so. So that'd be good. So those 4 then, Cedric, Diane, Bob, and Heidi. So then you guys will meet and then bring something back to the board.
Yep, we'll bring a
Okay.
recommendation back.
Perfect. Any other questions for Rob, or none? Moving on to board education, we have the furniture task force report. There's a number listed there, so I don't know who wants to start first.
Me.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Sally Oss, the business manager. Through the Citizens Advisory, before I introduce the committee and turn it over to the real stars, the teachers, and introduce the committee, I just want to give you a little bit of history and the goals. And so through the through the Citizens Advisory Committee, it came out to the district should assess their furniture in the classrooms. And so a furniture committee was delegated that task. Mr. Luck delegated. And so giving you a little goal and where we're going, what we have done, what the committee has done to this point is we have toured other schools to determine, to look at what other classrooms look like. We have visited with vendors to see, brought in samples to see what furniture looks like and what maybe work good in an elementary, what would work good in a middle school. And so that is what we have done so far. And throughout this process, right now the district has a pilot classroom in the middle school. So that hasn't, it's a pilot classroom, so it's no cost to the district. And then we have 2 elementary classrooms that we have trial furniture in, and the district could choose to purchase what they want, and the rest is returned. So we've gotten some golden opportunities to try out and, see what's working and assess it. So the next goal of the committee will be to, after the assessment, to determine what should a standard classroom look like in Jamestown and determine how do we make this action plan happen. So I'd like to introduce the committee. Representing the administrators from the elementary level is Vicki Combs. And then representing the grade 7 through 12 is the middle school principal, Ryan Hardy. Okay. And the teachers that have done an outstanding job, and they are going to be the leaders in this because the public and any administration or any teacher that has questions or, about the whole process or, what's working, what do you like, what don't you like, these are the people that they're going to go to. So we have Rachel Casted from Lincoln, Kelly Bauer from Gustner, and Justin Connell from the middle school. So I'm going to turn the show over to them, and they're going to do a presentation for you.
Yeah, we made a sway to kind of show some of the before and after pictures, to kind of show what the rooms looked like before, and then some of the kids in it afterwards working. We also thought it would be best if we got some testimony from the students themselves. So we had an option to bring some of my 8th graders into the 1st grade and 4th grade classroom And then they were able to ask them some questions, and then I've got some feedback from my 8th graders. So we'll kind of go through the pictures first. This is as big as it gets, so we're hoping the quality's good. And then I'll let each teacher talk about their classroom.
This is, do I need to talk into that? So first here, you're going to see the first grade classroom before. So this is my room, which looked okay before, but it was somewhat disorganized with all the seat sacks and everything. And you'll see in the after how much cleaner it looks.
All right, this is my classroom, 4th grade at Lincoln. You'll see that it's a big change in my classroom. We had desks that were arranged, and you can see there, I will say that there's a big change in organization for my kids for sure with the new furniture.
And then we kind of sneak into mine here. Here's the two. I chose to put your standard desks, as well as some, as you can see here, these round tables and some tables in the middle. And most of my students then gravitated towards those tables anyhow, but we needed some of the extra space for individual instruction and such, so that's why we kept those in there. And then this little table here is actually my desk, because we couldn't fit enough material in the room. It's a small room, and so I used that in a standing cart.
And then now we'll look at our new classrooms. This is my first grade room now, which you can see it just seems like it has a lot more space than it did before. The tables can be manipulated, pushed together, pulled apart, depending on what type of project we're doing.
And ours is the same. This is my room now. So you can see the big difference between the desks and having the tables. Makes it a lot easier for kids to work in groups and communicate with each other and during class time. So.
And I think you have all been up in my room. Many of you have. Is that right, with the school board? Some of you have. I got to, careful with that one. I got to get the chance to experience, actually most of us did, to experience different levels. You can see here a seated level and then a stand-up level. And it's a race to get in my room every morning to get into those standing desks. But it just provided them, the busy kids, a great opportunity to stand up during the day. And it just opened my room up completely.
And then we just wanted to show you some pictures of the kids using the stuff. So you can see the elementary room's got a table that's like a whiteboard. So the kids love that. And actually those two pictures right up top, there's 40 kids in those pictures, because that's both first grade classrooms in one room working on a project of some sort. So you can see the furniture makes so much more room in each classroom.
And I wanted this picture, I've tried to include a few pictures where you could see the different types of chairs we got. And in action, so you can see some of the different stools and rockers that the kids have available and how they can use those throughout the day differently. So.
And these are kind of small here, but these are my two biggest classes here with 21 students and 19 students. And I think it just paints a nice picture on how you can fit these, adult-sized bodies in a smaller room and get them together. This table here was intended for 2, and we've got 4 kids sitting around it with computers, working well with each other. So notice here, he just decided to kneel down, and it just provides that flexible seating. I mean, that's us talking, but we thought it was important. There's about 6 to 7 minutes of this if we have time for that. And this is the first grade classroom. And they've got some good feedback on their experience with the chairs. Can you hear it? Oh, maybe if I... I'm pushing the wrong buttons, you guys. There we go. Well, it's not. I'll shoot.
We can kind of recap what
Yep.
they said.
I swear they said it.
Yeah.
The big thing out of each, and these kids were excited, but here's some of their testimony, and I can read it to you in case it is too small. But it helps us move in our seats during the day. Multiple height tables help us see our teacher better. The tables can be pulled apart and pushed together to help with different lessons. The tables allow us to easily work with our table buddies, and we can choose different ways to sit in our seats. So that was the first graders recap. And you're actually going to notice quite a few parallels throughout all the grade levels with similar feedback. Fourth graders felt that they got to sit in different places and chairs every day, that they liked that. Some chairs move and some stay still. We all have energy, and the chairs help us use it up. I thought that was a fun one. There are lots of ways to arrange it, and they are comfortable and nice. And then my eighth graders, again, saying some of the same things. It's great for group work, keeps us focused on the task, makes us feel included, and it's easy to get help from their peers. So being in that proximity to each other. I thought my favorite one was the feeling included, which is a big thing in the middle school ages. So that is what we have to show you. So we appreciate your time, and if you have any questions, we'd be willing to answer them.
Any questions for them, or?
I was one of the lucky ones that got to see your room, Justin. It was really nice because I'd been in the room before the new furniture, and it just really opened it up, like you said, and it felt like you could put more people in there. I'm wondering, at all grade levels, how you manage the fact that some pieces are more popular, if you have a rotating schedule on the wall, or how you work that.
I guess as far as for me, it was initially when it first came in, it was we gave everybody the opportunity to sit wherever they wanted to. So if one day they wanted to sit in a stand-up, they could sit in a stand-up. And then eventually the kids just kind of figured out where they wanted to be and what was best for them. And it's odd to see, well, it's funny to see that the kids that need the movement find the movement, and they find those stand-up tables, and the ones that want to be still find the chairs and the desks that allow them to do that. But I didn't have to worry about any of that logistics. It worked itself out. But that's also in an 8th grade where the kids might have a little more maturity in that. But I'd like to actually hear what you have to say about your grades.
I can add, in 4th grade, when we first started with it, I kind of scheduled out each day. I wanted them each to try the different types of chairs. So for like the first 2 weeks, I assigned them a spot so they could try the different seating possibilities. And then after that, what we do, each morning the students have numbers. So each morning they come in, and let's say on Mondays, 1 through 5 gets to pick their spots first. So then they come in and pick their spots, 2 through 10, or 6 through 10 gets to pick next. And we rotate each day so that different kids have the opportunity to choose their seat first. But I've never honestly had any problems at all, because they like the different options. So if the one that they wanted isn't available, they just go find a different one that they liked as well. So I was worried about that as well.
And I have a little less organized approach. I don't know. In my classroom, when we're disappointed, we just go, oh, well, maybe next time. And so I just told them that if you don't get the spot that you want, then oh, well, maybe next time. And we rotate every other day. So every other day they pick their own spot, and we haven't had any issues with it. I think, like once a kid couldn't handle their spot, and I said, okay, you need to move, and the class saw that, and we haven't had any more issues since then. So, yeah, every other day they rotate.
Heidi, you had a comment?
One thing I really noticed is especially the 4th and the junior high kids, they're not all the same height, and so it really seemed like the different sizes allowed them to choose a chair height and a table height that fit their height as well, and instead of a desk that's kind of one size fits all, whether you're 5'2" or 5'10".
And just to speak to that, it's being in the elementary, there was a stand-up height table in Kelly's room, right? It just looks like it's seated, because it was probably that tall. But the kids got to stand up at it, which was neat. I know in the middle school, the secondary level, when the kids are getting bigger, those stand-up tables are great for teachers because now I'm on their level. And so if they have a question, I don't have to get down or sit down at that seat. I can stand up, and that's helpful for us.
I like the comment that, the students can see the teacher, I mean, all the time. I mean, it's like no one is in the back of the room anymore. I mean, they're all different levels and stuff, so.
And it's also funny because all the chairs migrate towards the front middle of the room by the end of the day anyway, so they slowly move to the front.
We all talked about how our furniture gets pushed forward throughout the day.
Rob, you had a
Maybe just a question, how have you seen the furniture impact your ability to use collaborative types of activities, creative activities? How has it better supported those kind of activities? And what might you see in those kinds of settings that you wouldn't be able to have, that you wouldn't have been able to do in a traditional classroom?
One thing that I have noticed is the save and transition time, because I had desks. If we wanted to collaborate, it was pushing desks together or moving the kids around the room. And with this, I can just say turn and talk to your neighbor or work with your group. And each day they're with different group members, so it just lends itself well to working with different kids and easily collaborating with each other during work time.
With my old classroom setup, if we wanted to do like a science experiment or something, we would end up being kind of spilled out into the hallway or just kind of like all over the place and no real central place to do it. The other first grade teacher and I work very closely, so we like to do stuff together. And with the new furniture, we can get all 40 kids, like you saw, in one classroom. We can push, in one of them I have 4 tables pushed together, and we have, we were able to do a science experiment around that table with all the kids kind of around that table and able to see, whereas in my old classroom, even though I didn't have individual desks, I had tables that were not as easy to be pushed together, and we just didn't have the room to do that before. So
As far as for us, with all the room, and I can even get to the picture, but there were many students that they asked me every day, can we go in the hallway? Can we go in the hallway? Can we go in the hallway? And so, of course, the answer was yes, because we needed the space. Let's see, it is right here. So with all this collaborative space here, all this, as far as walking around the room as a teacher, you're bumping into desks, you're stepping over desks. That was difficult. But the kids themselves, and you didn't get to hear it, but in the video they said it helps them stay on task, which was nice. And it helps them move side to side and get that help from their peers, because it's just, there's no bar in the way. With those old standard desks, there's that bar in the way, and you're separated. And then from the person in front of you, you're separated by 36 inches or more, because you have 2 desks in front of you. So with what we've got, it puts these kids closer together, and we've done multiple projects in class so far, and it's been fantastic since December.
Diane?
Just one more question. It sounds like you would be very disappointed if this opportunity were to disappear. Am I right?
I'll have to let them talk, because I get lucky.
yeah. I think the kids would too. Yeah.
We asked them off camera, and they said they would be, I said, what happens next year if you move and there isn't this furniture in your room? And they said, that'd be terrible, but.
One of my kids said, well, maybe I'll just fail on purpose.
So we don't want that.
No.
Any more comments or questions?
Maybe just
Rob?
one, and the idea here is, as Sally had talked, similar to what we did with technology, what should every classroom look like? This is what our team has been tasked to do, is try to find out what every classroom at every level should look like. These are we're trying to create a standardized approach, standardized approach isn't quite the right word, but a more uniformed approach to how we can support collaboration in the classrooms. The physical space is a big piece of that. We don't talk about that a lot. We talk a lot about pedagogy. How do we do it as adults and the teachers? How does that happen? But the space needs to accommodate it. Then you heard a little bit about how that furniture can support that collaboration, and how that space can be better suited for those kinds of activities. And I think that's what's exciting to me about it is that the space needs to play a part, and they've done a good job in finding furniture and utilizing that space in the best way. Our classrooms weren't built for this. These are older buildings, and so we need to repurpose how we use that space. And I think they've done a good job with that, and I'm excited to see long-term planning here, how we can make this work and create a standard, a better standard for each of our classrooms in terms of space. So thank you to Mr. Hardy, Mrs. Combs, too. I know they've served on the committee and spent time as well as our teachers, and Sally, who was delegated. I like to say empowered, but delegated.
Cedric, you had a question, or?
Sally, from your perspective, what does this paint for a picture going forwards as far as who we're working with for this furniture and their thoughts on incorporating into our old buildings and feasibility and things like that?
That's why the committee spent the time looking at school districts, what furniture they have. And I think the committee would agree, one of the schools that we walked into in West Fargo was like, or maybe that was me being tunnel visioned, they had 3 or 4 different kinds of furniture in a classroom. Certain schools like this type of chair, and then they like this type of table. And depending upon, what the decision is made, we will still have, if it's a large amount, we would still have to go through a bidding process. But that's, we had the pilot classroom, like I said, Justin's classroom was piloted from KI, and that was given to us. And the 2 other elementary classrooms is accent furniture, and that is on a trial basis, but obviously those teachers would kill us right now. And so there'll be some, determination of what's, they're assessing it. And so when we meet to decide, I think 2 of these chairs in this classroom, that's will be the deciding factor. And do we take, so much money each year and do a classroom? And those are the decisions that we have to make. But those teachers are going to be key in saying, I think we need 2 of this chair. I think we need these tables to come up with a feasible or a standard, not really standard like Rob said, but a more unified. If you walked into a 4th grade class in Jamestown Public Schools, this would be the goal. We want it to look like this. So, yeah. I commend the committee because they, we went to Fargo. They put hours on their own time, and evaluating vendors. And it's been a fun sideline. It has been a fun project to work with these teachers on. So,
Rob, do you have another comment?
Well, just maybe 2 reminders. We budget for furniture already. And this would just be how we spend that money more wisely and focused. And then the other point is that it would have to be a phased approach. This isn't something we could do in one summer and that's kind of, I think, what Sally was saying too. You have to build towards this, just like we did with technology. It didn't just change overnight. There'd have to be a phased approach because it would be a financial commitment, but we do budget for furniture already every year.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Not, we have our classroom walkthrough then. So people on TV will take a break and come back and.
So does everybody else, does everybody do the same thing?
Justin. Is it mine? Oh. I gotta go up there anyway. I was wondering what a classroom walkthrough was. If you guys did this all the time or what?
Probably in November, this happened in December.
You're on there?
Yeah. Thank you.
Are we all back in? Oh, thanks. Okay, we're all back in after our tour, which was very interesting. Moving on to the agenda, any old business? Hearing none, moving into new business, we have nothing under activities. Under buildings and grounds, is there a motion to approve the temporary construction easement with the city of Jamestown? Motion by Bob, seconded by Cedric. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to letter B, is there a motion to approval of the permanent sidewalk and utility easement with the city of Jamestown and Otter Tail Power Company? Motion by Jennifer. Seconded by Diane. Any discussion? Rob?
Just a reminder, this is related specifically to the Safe Routes to School grant, sidewalks up 12th to the CTC, and then between Two Rivers Activity Center and Jamestown High School.
Cedric?
So I understand there's easement there and whatnot for building this and permanent easement for upkeep. The district themselves, are we responsible for the upkeep of that? Or is that going to be the city between Two Rivers and the high school, or?
We would, between the Parks and Rec and the high school, would take care of the upkeep between those two spaces.
Any, Heidi?
Including snow removal.
Yeah, we've talked before with the the sidewalks around Two Rivers Activity Center. Parks and Rec would take care of that. We haven't talked specifically about how far and all those things, but it's a benefit for both.
Bob?
The map, just so I understand the map, the sidewalks are going to go not a straight line from the high school to track, but it'll go through that grove of trees there, so it won't go back out to the highway or the road, the main street that runs east-west, north to south, excuse me.
12th, yeah.
Not directly, no. It would through the parking lot between track and the school. But 12th, and then on 12th, it would just be right alongside the east side of 12th.
Any more discussion? Hearing none. Oh, Diane?
Is there any concern that we might meet resistance on the 12th Avenue addition?
I don't think at all. We have students that are walking already, and now they're walking in grass or on the road, and I think it's a safer route. Certainly because on the west side, up to what's now Newman Arena, there is the sidewalk. So some of our students that come that way will walk on a sidewalk to that point, then will walk on grass or street, and the hope is that it encourages more to be walking because there's a safe route, a safe path to the schools, which is why we wanted to prioritize the 12th Street, because we do have kids that walk in that space.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to letter C, is there a motion for approval of the updated MDU gas agreement? Motion by Brenda. Seconded by Bob. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving into curriculum and assessment and instruction, is there a motion to approval of the 2018 summer school courses? Motion by Jennifer, seconded by Brenda. Any discussion on them? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Is there a motion for the budget revision for 2017-18? Motion by Bob, seconded by Heidi. Do you have any to add to Sally or not?
I think it was explained. Does anybody have
Last
any
time.
questions? It was explained on the top portion. Okay.
Yep. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Is there a motion for the approval of the submit application and corresponding budget revision for Title 2A reallocation funds in the amount of $4,000? Motion by Jennifer. Seconded by Cedric. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving into personnel, is there a motion for the approval of the summer school contracts? Motion by Brenda, seconded by Diane. Any discussion? Hearing none, assuming roll call vote, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to letter B, is there a motion for the approval of the resignation of Becky Taylor, elementary librarian, at the conclusion of the 2017-18 school year?
So moved, and thank you for your service.
Motion by Heidi and thank for service. Seconded by Jennifer. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to letter C, is there a motion for the approval of the resignation of Melissa Brass, Title I teacher, at the conclusion of the 2017-18 school year? Motion by Cedric.
And thank you for your service.
Seconded by Brenda. And also thanks for the service. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to letter D, is there a motion to approval of the resignation of Elizabeth Edens after 1 year leave of absence? Motion by Jennifer. Seconded by Diane. Any discussion? Rob?
Just clarifying, as you know, you did approve a 1 year leave of absence for Mrs. Edens. They are required before, if they would like to come back, to notify us before a certain date. Mrs. Edens did not. Typically, we do get a letter of resignation as well. At that time, that's why you don't see an attachment there. It becomes, with approval of the board, becomes the resignation. And we need that for records. It's loss of continuing contract rights. But that is standard to resignation, because she did miss that deadline, is not intending to pursue, with the district. So it's just the next step.
Okay.
Thank you for your service to our district when she was.
And just to clarify, we do traditionally send out, we are not required to do so, but we do send out an email reminder that these are the deadlines. We send out a letter first that says these are the expectations. As a courtesy, we have sent out an email as it gets close to that deadline, reminding them of deadlines and things like that, and in their requirements to come back.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to letter E, is there a motion to approve the request for release from contract for Shane Ringdahl, elementary counselor for the 2018-19 school year?
So moved. Thanks for time with our district as well.
Seconded by motion by Heidi, seconded by Bob. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to letter F, is there a motion to approve the hire of Lisa Fisher as a speech language pathologist for Washington Elementary with MS Step 3, salary of $49,987 for the 2018-19 school year upon successful background check? Motion by Cedric. Seconded by Jennifer. Any discussion? Hearing none, assuming roll call vote, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to letter G, is there a motion for the approval of the hire of Dorothy White as elementary high school counselor with MA Step 3.5, salary of $50,845.75 for the 2018 school year upon successful background check. Motion by Brenda. Seconded by Bob. Any discussion? Diane?
Is this going to be the replacement for Gail Nelson? And did Gail also work in the elementary schools? I was a little confused on that.
So this is Tressie Mitchell. We talked about when we were, which board meeting? It was in the high school. With Tressie Mitchell position is .7. We added the .3 to considering we might have a difficult time finding a part-time counselor, as well as the federal requirements coming through ESSA that added a little bit more to the plate of the high school counselors, and just to make sure that we were meeting our minute requirements through the Century Code. So that .3 was added. Oh, okay.
Jennifer?
3.5 step, there's a half step.
The district allows, if they taught somewhere a half a year. So that's, the step is in, relation to their years of experience. So she had, yep.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, assuming roll call vote, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to letter H, is there a motion to approve the hire of Morgan Schwarzenberger, JHS Business Education Instructor, with a BS plus 16, Step 1, salary of $44,262 for the 2018-19 school year upon successful background check? Motion by Jennifer, seconded by Bob. Any discussion? Hearing none, assuming roll call vote, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving into policy and procedures, is there a motion to rescind other employment requirements policy DBAC, and then have the first reading of the recruiting and hiring teachers DBAC, and the subsequent one competitive personnel systems example for teachers, and the criminal history screening procedures, DBAC E2. Motion by Brenda. Seconded by Bob. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to letter C, we'll have C and D in the subsequent 1 and 2. Is there a motion to rescind personnel records policy DI, have the first reading of personnel records policy DI, and the personnel file records checklist policy DI E1, and the notice of confidential records on file policy DI E2? Motion by Cedric. Seconded by Diane. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to letter E, is there a motion for the first reading of the Title I Qualifications Notification Requirement Policy DHAB? Motion by Jennifer. Seconded by Bob. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to letter F, is there a motion for the first reading of the part-time students policy FAAE? Motion by Brenda, seconded by Cedric. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Is there a motion to rescind the first aid and emergency care policy E3, have the first reading of the students' accidents policy FCAD, and the first reading of the emergency and disaster plans and drills policy ACAB? Motion by Jennifer. Seconded by Cedric. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to letter J and K, is there a motion to rescind the Child Abuse and Neglect Reporting Act, policy E4, and have the first reading of Relations with Department of Human Services, Policy LBB. Motion by Jennifer, seconded by Brenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Is there a motion, moving to letter L, is there a motion for the first reading of the student interviews by law enforcement, policy FGCC? Motion by Cedric. Seconded by Diane. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to letter M, is there a motion to rescind textbooks, policy E5? Motion by Heidi, seconded by Cedric. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to letter N, is there a motion for the first reading of the student fees, policy FBA, and the subsequent 1 and 2 meal charging procedures, policy IBBR, and the free and reduced price meals eligibility appeals, policy IBE1. Motion by Brenda, seconded by Cedric. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Last one, letter O. Is there a motion to rescind the special education student records policy E7? Motion by Jennifer, seconded by Cedric. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have nothing under tuition tonight. Items for future agenda. If there is something, Bob?
Just on the football, just keep us informed, which I'm sure you do, but curious of how that works out.
Okay. Anything else? Just let Rob or myself know, and we'll get it on the agenda. Meetings to be scheduled. We have the District Improvement Committee meeting on Thursday, April 5th at 3:30 in the Thompson Community Room. We have our next regular school board meeting on Monday, April 16th, 2018, at 5:15 here in the Thompson Room in the middle school. And moving to Roman numeral 6, someone want to read the, Brenda?
We need to let the board know that we're meeting with the negotiations with the administrators on Wednesday again.
Yes.
Yeah, that, we will, I mean, executive session, but we are.
And
Oh.
meetings to be scheduled.
Oh, meetings, yeah, we'll be meeting with the administrators for negotiations April 4th, 6 o'clock in the conference room, so. Any other meetings to be scheduled? If not, somebody want to read the executive session? Diane?
I, Diane Hansen, believe that discussion with our negotiators in developing a strategy relative to the school board's position in this matter in open session would have an adverse fiscal effect on the negotiations position of the board. Therefore, I move that the board enter into executive session, that the following members and negotiators be identified as being present. School board members Diane Hansen, Roger Hout, Heidi Larson, Brenda Remick, Jennifer Schmidt, Robert Toso, Cedric Trethwick, Superintendent Robert Leck, and Business Manager Sally Ost. That the date and time are April 2nd, 2018 at 6:11 p.m. That only the following topic will be considered in executive session: negotiation strategies. That the legal authority for the executive session is Section 44-04-19.1 of the North Dakota Century Code. That the executive session be recorded.
Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Bob. Any discussion? All those, oh, 6:20, okay.
21 rather than 16.
Thank you.
Okay.
I am getting new glasses tomorrow.
No other discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Then a reminder, we will be coming back here to close the meeting, so.